Welcome back to AnimeVerse Recap. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and hit the notification bell. Today, we're covering One Piece episodes 915 to 919, Luffy's crushing defeat by Kaido, his imprisonment in Udon, Kid's return, Perona learning Moria is alive, Sanji Soba stand rising in fame, and chaos brewing across Wano. Episode 915. Kaido's upper body was thrown back by a series of rockets, but the Yonko's father only had one breath and Luffy was blown back. Hey, we were fighting while drunk. I wonder if Kaido is serious yet. After avoiding 3 energy balls, Elephant Gun continued to punch the old man's lower jaw. He kicked his body straight, and finally, Gigant Magnum successfully pushed Kaido down to the ground with his huge body. He also returned to his human body. Law took the opportunity to run out and tell Luffy that's enough, run away. But he refused. Luffy was also crazy. The strongest creature had stood up. He was staggering and hiccuping constantly because of being drunk. There was no more talking. Luffy rushed forward and activated gear for Boundman with Kongan. A punch straight to the face from Kaido was thrown, but he was still able to stand firm against Luffy's attack. The subsequent kicks and punches were only enough to push back the strongest creature. With the effort from Jetto, Kuruvaran, Luffy was finally able to knock him down. When he got up, a terrifying power continued to surround him. Reime hack, a single hammer. I said just one hit. Is that enough, you little rat? Everything we saw was clearly the result. Luffy was unconscious, completely defeated by the 4 Emperors Kaido. Law was about to use room to drag Luffy away when Hawkins shot through his hand with a sea stone needle, making Law unable to use his ability. According to Hawkins, the sea stone used all over the world originated from Wano. Only craftsmen in Wano country could refine it into such a small object. Law stepped back, used his sword to remove the sea stone nail, then used his teleportation ability to escape. Now, no one can save Luffy anymore. Kaido stood next to him and repeated what he wanted to be king about. I heard you wanted to be king. Say it again, and listen. Unfortunately, this guy was unconscious, so he couldn't shout anymore. This is the arrogance of youth. The battle ended with a quick victory for the Yonko Kaido. Episode 916. Kaido ordered Luffy to be imprisoned until he completely lost the will to fight. To Kaido, the worst generation were just weaklings. But even though he was unconscious, Luffy unconsciously released Heiyoshoku Haki, causing Kaido's soldiers to collapse. This angered Kaido, as those who possess Heiyoshoku Haki have the qualities of a leader. For Kaido, this world does not need too many people with the qualities of a king. Previously, Kid also revealed Heiyoshoku Haki when confronting Kaido, witnessing Heiyoshoku Haki surprise Sudamaru, because it was the same power as Odin. Meanwhile, Reizo escaped and was worried about Bippo and everyone. When Law ran to him, he realized that his wife and the villagers were safe. Thanks to that, he was somewhat reassured and was able to see Shutenmaru rushing past. When Okiko returned to reunite with Momo's group, fortunately, at the critical moment, Shinobu used her Zuko no Mi ability to cause the ground to rot, creating a deep hole for the group to fall into the mountain, avoiding Kaido's fierce attack. Otama, though not in mortal danger, was seriously injured. Fortunately, Lord Inuarashi happened by and saved her in time. Meanwhile, Luffy was captured by his henchmen and taken to prison. The hot news quickly spread throughout Wano Kingdom. His crewmates, upon hearing that their captain had just collided with the boss, frowned. That Luffy was truly a man who never followed plans. Euro, located on Wano Island, is home to weapons factories and areas where prisoners are forced to work hard. After being bandaged, Luffy is escorted here to prepare for hard labor. Coincidentally, the place where Luffy is being held is also Kid's cell. The two share the same room, face the same enemy, and both swear to pay back this humiliating debt. Episode 917. On a pirate island in the Fur-Elise region, which is considered a pirate paradise and also the territory of the 4 Emperors Blackbeard. Somehow, Gecko Moria is still alive and is using his undead army to attack this island in order to save his friend Absalom, who is being held captive by Blackbeard. According to rumors, the 4 Emperors Blackbeard's crew is a pirate who specializes in hunting devil fruits, and it is certainly not a coincidence that they are targeting Absalom. Just as he turned around, the invisible figure appeared and slashed straight at Gecko Moria. Immediately after, he reappeared, and it seemed that Absalom was no more. The power of invisibility was now in the hands of the captain of the Blackbeard Pirates' Second Fleet. This would be an extremely formidable power, especially when Shiryu possessed it. As the Blackbeard Pirates' commander surrounded Moria, this power immediately showed its power. His bounty has now reached a billion to 147,600,000 belly. At this point, the factions are facing off fiercely. The Revolutionary Army, in an attempt to save Kuma, must fight Fujitora and Ryokugyu, while Big Mom is also heading to Wano to punish the boy and his gang. The two Yonko will soon collide, and the delicate moment is approaching when the strongest will face off directly to compete for the throne. Will Kaido or Luffy be the ultimate winner? Episode 918, a duel between Inuarashi and Ashura, is taking place tensely. This match is considered balanced, as both sides appear to be equally strong. The cause of the conflict is because Oden's followers do not understand why Ashura is using his terrible power to bully the villagers of Kuri, people that Lord Oden once loved very much. In that situation, Kinman had to use the fire sword to prevent the fight from erupting further. Given what he had witnessed in Wano in the 2 decades since Oden's death, Ashura seemed to have lost all hope of their side's victory. But the real reason Ashura no longer wanted to fight was probably because, despite all his contributions, including his willingness to sacrifice his life for Oden, Shutenmaru was never recognized as an official member of the Kozuki clan. Otama also regained consciousness after being treated by Chopper and the doctors in Wano. She returned to Udon, which had recently been used as a forced labor camp where prisoners were forced to work until they were exhausted and almost no one had ever escaped. In a fit of rage, the Straw Hat captain was now forced to work hard to earn a living. Although his hands were chained by sea stone cuffs, reducing his natural strength, Luffy and the other boys still worked very hard, just to have a full meal. On Sanji's side, the chef opened noodle stall number 3 in the hope of attracting samurai, but there were no samurai to be seen, only young children lining up to enjoy his delicious food. The newspapers also reported on a famous thief who stole from the rich to give to the poor, Hidekiri Kamazo. Note that all of these articles were from Wano's domestic newspapers, not newspapers from the outside world. As for Shinobu and Nami, both of them possess extremely sophisticated hiding abilities. However, Nami was careless when she completely exposed her legs, causing the enemy to discover her. Not stopping there, Shinobu, who was afraid of sharp objects, screamed loudly, signaling the location of both of them and causing the enemy to quickly realize it. In episode 919, the two ran for their lives and just managed to reach the roof of a grown woman's house. Shinobu and her big sister successfully escaped, using a stealth technique similar to kids, despite being discovered. However, they gathered important information about the name of the port and the date of receiving the weapons. Based on that, they will steal these weapons to equip the allies. At the Udon prison camp, an old man named Hiro felt miserable because he could not get enough food after a day of labor. As for the two young boys, when they had to carry giant rocks, the number of coupons they received in exchange for food was too little. After exchanging, the amount of food they got was only that much, which was really very modest. At the prison, the two boys were making a lot of noise, both of them Kaido's defeated generals. Because these two worked a lot and exchanged all the food, according to the rules, the deputy warden of the prison, named Turbo, had nothing left to eat. Seeing the old man Hiro being trampled by him, Luffy was angry. But there were strict rules here. If you dare to defy the warden, the first time you will have your hand cut off, the next time your leg cut off, and the third time you will be executed. Wanting to punish this devil, the two boys jumped straight into his mouth to deal with him, but unexpectedly he knocked them back unconscious. Because there was no evidence to prove that the two boys beat anyone, according to the law, they could not be punished. From then on, two heroes of the prisoners were born. And that wraps up our recap for today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like, leave a comment with your thoughts, and share it to support the channel. Make sure to subscribe and ring the notification bell so you won't miss the next episodes of the Wano Arc Recap. Thank you for watching. and I'll see you in the next video.